Hello, guys. So today I've got some Qubic news for you, and some of it is super exciting Qubic news that you've been waiting for a long time. And then I've got some other moderately exciting Qubic news. We've been waiting for some exciting Qubic news for quite a while, so I've got some moderately exciting Qubic news as well. And then I'm going to begin this video just with some of the more bad news that's around Qubic lately. So let's get into it. Okay, so I want to begin, before I get into the moderately good news and the really, really good news, I just want to talk about some of the FUDs that I'm seeing on some of my videos just around Qubic. And firstly, I'm not calling out any of these people. The reason that I'm sure these are all great people, and the reason that I'm sharing some of what they're commenting on my YouTube videos is because I don't want to be just completely a Qubic maxi, only sharing Qubic good news, but I want to respond to some of the comments that some people have made. And in some situations, I kind of agree with them. And in some situations, I want to talk about where I think they might be a little bit wrong. So the first person is this person here, and they just are talking about Braver Crypto, who is a Twitter or X influencer that I share a lot. I share his predictions, I share his calls and his shouts quite a bit. And this person just commented that Braver Crypto was very bullish on the crypto called Now, Up Only, which is one I don't actually know, and AIPG. And definitely they're correct about AIPG and Now, and I'm sure they're right about Up Only, but I just haven't seen them talk about that crypto, and I don't know it myself. They said then that Now turned out to be a rug and down 95%, and that AIPG is down 90%, and Up Only is down 70%, and there's more. So so this is all true, what they're saying anyway. Now has come down quite a lot. Now, it's not a rug, and from a further conversation I had with this person just in this conversation, or in this thread, I think they just kind of misunderstood. Maybe English isn't the first language, I'm not sure, but they didn't quite understand what a rug was. But they were saying that Now has some misleading information out there, and since it's dropped a lot in value. Now, that's true, but what I would say is judge that currency in a year's time, and let's see, it's an AI crypto, it's a completely new project, and those projects are as crazy volatile. Could go to zero, it could go, many multiples of where it's at now, but let's just see in a year's time. Then they say about AIPG, that's down 90%. Now, AIPG is a really popular project. It's been shared by a lot of people as a really promising project, but it's down a mile as well. 100% true. But again, I would say, as a new project, give it time, see where it's at in a year as an AI project. And Up Only, I don't know anything about. But I would just say, so this is what Braver Crypto shares. They share projects super early, and they're going to have a hit or miss ratio with those. With those projects, they're not guaranteed to be successful. But you got to give it a year to see what happens. Now, Brave Crypto generally seems to give good shouts, but they openly state themselves that they get things wrong. But also, I just want to say that I'm not a Braver Crypto fanboy either. I just try and use them as a reference point of something interesting that someone out there is saying, just to build a conversation and give my own opinions and things. So I don't know how those cryptos will play out. I don't know how Qubic will play out. I don't know how Cast will play out. I'm just positive about some of these projects. But thank you anyway to this person for this comment, and it's very valid points, and I take those on board completely, and they're correct. But just I'll just all I say is let it play out. And Braver Crypto is obviously someone that isn't an oracle and doesn't magically know the answer to everything. They're just giving recommendations. Some will be right, some will be wrong. But generally, if you're to chart out when they're right and when they're wrong, I think you'd see they're right a lot more than they're wrong. Probably, but I don't know. Again, I haven't checked that. Then this next person, and thank you for this comment as well. They said that Caspa is awesome, but Qubic absolutely sucks. Qubic founder is a scam artist and was booted from IOTA for all sorts of underhand bullshit. And He also tried to FUD Caspa and wound his neck in when he got called out on Twitter. So, again, thanks for that comment. I understand where you're coming from. Caspa is awesome. I agree with that. Qubic absolutely sucks. Okay, I don't agree with that. But I understand that this guy does not like the Qubic founder, and I do understand that and get that. The Qubic founder, he says a lot of weird things. I'm not sure what I think of him. I'm not sure if I like him. But just because I don't necessarily know if I like a person doesn't mean I can't appreciate their work. Sometimes the most brilliant people are brilliant at one thing, but then they're completely lacking in another way, and that's kind of what makes them brilliant, is all their energy is focused on being good at one thing, and they're really bad as, with people skills, things like that. So possibly Qubic founders like that. I haven't heard him talk enough. I know that English is not a language that he speaks. He writes it through translating it, and I think a lot of times he doesn't put himself across very clearly, but I'm not sure about that. Now, what I do have an issue with is saying that he's a scam artist. He's not a scam artist. There's no, provable track record of him ever scamming people. But I appreciate where this guy's coming from, as he's saying that he doesn't trust them. So I get that. He was booted from IOTA for all sorts of underhand BS. Well, that's one point of view, but from, the Qubic founder's point of view, he would say he left the IOTA project because he didn't agree with the direction they were going. There's contradictory stories coming from both directions. So I don't know who to believe in that, but I don't think he necessarily did extremely underhand BS, even from the other IOTA or the other IOTA creators' point of view. So it's never as simple as it seems. I don't like any of the negativity that goes around it. So yeah, I agree with it. It's not a good look for him anyway. And then he tried to FUD Caspa. Well, that's not actually true. What he said was that someone was talking about how great Cas was as a project in the Discord and kind of putting down Qubic. And the Qubic creator came out and said that, in early phases, he points out a vulnerability in the Caspa network, or an issue which changed how they developed Caspa from there. That's what he's saying. I don't know if that's true, but he shared screenshots of when he said that, and then that caused a whole huge issue and people just going crazy and stuff. And it was just, again, it was a stupid kind of handbags sort of moment where it didn't really matter, any of it. So I wouldn't call it that he was trying to FUD Caspa, but I would say he was being quite egotistical, and he probably could have selected the way he was talking again. But none of that equates necessarily to Qubic being a terrible project. Qubic is, I'm not technical enough to know, is a proven long term. Let's see how it plays out. But just because you don't like the founder does not mean that the project is crap. And then this person just comments here that the price drop is crazy. That's almost minus 50 from its all-time high. I'm guessing they mean percentage. It's actually almost 100% or over 100% down from its all-time high. And this is just a general market thing that I'm seeing right now. Is there's a lot of panic in the markets. Even for Caspa, for Tau, for Qubic, people saying that they're not getting the returns that they expected, that the projects are failing. They're probably selling a lot of their crypto. And I mean, all you need to be is just emotionless, stay patient. This is a point in a cycle, a bull run cycle, where smart money is trying to shake out retail money. They want you to panic sell your cryptos, and then they're going to pump it like crazy, and you're going to buy then, and then they're going to make you sell again. It's they're trying to get their low buy-ins right now. Just don't panic. Don't panic about stuff. These fluctuations mean nothing at this point. And if you're looking from week to week to see how your investment's doing, you're being overly emotional. Think about your investment until 2025. I'm not guaranteeing that's going to work out. I'm just saying that if you've looked through a project and you believe that the project could do well, then you've got to be given a timeline of looking at, early 2025, mid 2025, late 2025 before you can decide if that project was successful or a failure. Exact same with AIPG and now up here. I don't even look at my portfolio from day to day. It's going up 10,000, losing 10,000 here from day to day, and I don't even look at it. I don't care. So then next, that someone commented here, just again, someone just said that they have a hard time investing in Qubic because the creator just jumps around from one project to the next, and the next cycle will be something else. Again, fair point, and I don't necessarily disagree with this, but really when you say that he's talking about Sergei Ivancheglo again, people just don't seem to like this project creator. But when you look at him jumping from project to project, well, he started NXT in 2013. It became a successful project. Then he decided that he wanted to move over to IOTA, which I think was around 2016, 2017. You can correct me if I'm wrong on those numbers. Then he had those fallouts with the IOTA team, and then I think he went into developing Qubic around 2020. So he has moved projects a lot, but he's been talking about Qubic since 2012. It seems to be his pet project. I don't know, will he jump into another project? But for me, my plan is to sell Qubic in this cycle. I want to catch the pump, and I want to sell it, and I might buy in again if people think it's if it looks like it's gonna do well. And then this point up here, I wanted to share this because this is an interesting and quite true point. So this person said, so we're talking about fair launch projects, and he said, so starting a blockchain project where you and your friends mine as much as 10% of the supply and then open sourcing it for everyone else. Is that a fair project? No, it's as much of a scam as it gets. Now, I don't think a scam is the right word, but he said that's not a fair launch. Sergei Ivancheglo mined trillions of coins before anyone else knew about it. He'll likely dump them once they reach a certain value, causing the project to collapse. Sergei Ivancheglo seems to have personal issues. Again, people not liking Ivancheglo seems a little bit crazy. I'd probably agree with that. And I wouldn't recommend getting involved with him, with a guy posing with a revolver. I never saw that, but I guess he has a picture of him with himself with a revolver. Seriously, now new scams are emerging called proof of work. So basically just saying that these are scam projects, some of these proof of work projects that launch as fair launch, but the creators are mining as much as they can early on. So I don't disagree with that term, but Qubic did launch at a point where I could mine Qubic as early as Sergei Ivancheglo could have. He obviously knew about his own project very early on, so he would have mined a lot of Qubic before I got a chance to mine any. Would he have managed to get that much Qubic? I don't know how much Qubic he managed to get at that point. I know he bought a lot as well. Will he dump on the project in the future? I think Ivancheglo's already selling right now because he talked about needing to raise funds to buy more equipment to further AGART and further whatever sort of development he's doing on the project. So yeah, I think he's already selling some of his Qubic. But what I care about is that Ivancheglo wants this project to pump over the next year, and I just want to get out of it then. But I do take the point of a fair launch project. Really, how fair launched is it? Because the developers are just going to start mining really early before everyone else catches on, and they're going to have a huge supply of it anyway. But from a regulatory point of view, a project being fair launched is it makes them from a regulatory point of view untouchable, and that's an important point. And then just saying that it's a scam, I mean, people just love using the word scam and they overuse it. I'm not doubting anything else that's said here, but a scam is just a bit over the top. Saying that he seems to have personal issues, yeah, he seems to cause ructions, problems. He seems to be a bit annoying to people. I don't know whether he has personal issues. Let's see, but I wouldn't completely just throw the baby out with the bathwater on that one. Just because you don't like something that he says doesn't mean that Ivancheglo has personal issues. He seems to be a great developer, but again, I'm not a technical person. I don't necessarily know that for certain. So that's a lot of the FUD talk. But I want to address those points, by the way, because they're all fair points. I'm not doubting any of those points, and they are fair points, and I want to give you guys that are watching my videos a balanced point of view on everything. And I'm not saying that I know for a fact that Qubic is going to the moon and it's going to be $1 trillion market cap. I'm saying that that's possible, but also what these guys are saying is possible too. There's always two sides to everything. And it's never magically true that the projects are just, going to go. You're going to magically throw in $1,000 and become a millionaire overnight. So I don't want to present that point of view to you. But then let's get on to the moderately good news. Actually, this is really good news, but at the end we've got the incredibly good news. But this is really good news as well. So this is a guy called Q Silver, and at the moment he's developing on the Qubic network. And what's great is because Qubic is open source, he's just a developer that isn't working with Sergey Ivancheglo, but in the Discord you can see him chatting with Ivancheglo, giving feedback, getting feedback from Ivancheglo, and he's basically just started developing himself and working on developing QX. And he stated here that seems we can get up to 60x the QX throughput, which gets us to 60,000 transactions per tick or 10,000 swaps per second at current tick rate and parameters, with 10x increase possible to tick rate at TX per tick. This gets us up to 100,000 swaps per second. So that's really, really huge. That is a lot of swaps per second. I don't know where that ranks in compared to some other platforms, but I'd be willing to bet, or willing to say, I wouldn't be willing to bet, I'd be willing to say that that's probably one of the quickest, or maybe the quickest DEX that's out there. A lot quicker than most mainstream DEXs anyway. And then, this was shared by CryptoD's, one of my favorite people on X right now. And then he was just congratulating this guy Q Silver on doing this, and then Q Silver commented back and said, "I just broke it. That is the easy part. The hard part was by the core developers." And the point that he's making is in relation to people like Sergey Ivancheglo, and this is the positive stuff about Sergey Ivancheglo, that the infrastructure and the development that they created initially with Qubic is what's making Qubic stand out so much and what's making these numbers possible for QX. Then there's just some screenshots here from X that I'm sharing that just show this Q Silver guy at the moment, right now, is stress testing QX. So he just said after many hours of saturation levels, one of the nodes finally froze up, so he's completely saturating QX, very close to passing the stress test, but now we'll wait for a fix and do it again. So one of the nodes froze up, so it was really close to huge saturation when a node froze, and they're fixing it and waiting to do it again, and then still running at full saturation. So this was the point where before this they were saying they was running a full saturation and a high load that was ticking over smoothly, saying that 100% load test started, so this was a load test that just failed. And basically that was all the points that he was going through. And then he said that QX testing in final phase on testnet. Stress tests start today, 1k bit. So basically, he was testing QX to see if it was ready for mainnet. It performed really, really well. It failed right at the end, but it's going through that testing phase again. And I think what's important about that is QX. I guess a lot of us have been waiting for this decentralized exchange to launch on the Qubic network. Tomorrow is the next epoch. It looks like it's not gonna launch for that epoch. I'm predicting QX won't be launching this week, but since it's going through the last phases of stress testing, I'd say it's highly likely that's going to launch next week. But again, we're in no panic. Doesn't matter. It's not bad news. If QX doesn't launch till the start of September, it's not bad news. It's just a team working on developing something and getting it right. But it should be soon by the looks of things. And then this is just a really, really interesting thing. So we can see from this guy, Crypto Claus, you guys are definitely not ready for Qubic. Enjoy the cheap prices. It's insane how undervalued Qubic is. It's definitely, in my opinion, very undervalued too, but let's see about that. And this person just shared in the Discord and said, fun fact, Ethereum is doing 16 transactions per second, and that means that Uniswap can do maximum 16 actions, add, remove liquidity swaps per second. Here on QX, we have 1,024 QX actions, bid-ask matching per 6 seconds current tick time. That means 170 actions per second, so 10 times quicker than Uniswap on the testnet. Note that testnet is usually 30 to 50% slower than mainnet, so QX is going to be far, far, far quicker than Ethereum. Already on the testnet, it's far quicker than Ethereum, and it should be a lot quicker on the testnet. And then if I'm reading correctly what Q Silver is saying here, it's going to be even way quicker than than this person is saying here, but maybe I'm not reading that part properly again, as not being, you know, a complete technical whiz on this stuff. But it's an interesting fact. Again, I think QX might possibly be the quickest exchange out there, and I'm interested to see the numbers soon and a comparison with other exchanges. And as soon as I get those comparisons, I'll be sharing them with you guys. And then what we've got here is okay. So this is just something to watch out for. A lot of imposters out there. So some people are talking about QX is launching tomorrow. Some are saying that's not launching for a few months. Most of them are just bullshitters and fake accounts. And this person, Q Silver, was just pointing out that that's an imposter and not to listen to them. Just a really important point to listen to note in case you're on X. Then Q Silver shared something really interesting that I'm a little bit skeptical about, but it's interesting. And if you go check them out on X, so just at QSilver97, you'll see this medium.com article that they shared. And in that article, they were showing how you could basically send your Qubic to a wallet, and then in return, you'll get this Q wallet crypto. And then that Q wallet crypto, once QX launches, can be swapped again for Qubic. And I think you get 3 Qubic for every Q wallet. So you could triple the amount of Qubic you have. Now, I'm real skeptical. I don't want to send my Qubic to any wallet. This guy Q Silver seems really genuine, but I don't know him, so I'm not going to be sending my Qubic to any wallet that he gives me, and I wouldn't recommend that you guys do that either. But something to do your own research on and see if it's legitimate. But in that Medium article as well, he also goes on to point out that they're developing the Q wallet here, but then they're also developing Q pool, so they're developing liquidity pools, and then that's where the crowdfunding comes in, which is where you can send your Qubic to this and get a large return initially. And then they're also creating a QX user interface so that you'll actually have interfaces you can operate with for your Q wallet, for your Q pool, and for your QX exchange. So that's a pretty interesting just side note there as well from Q Silver. And then this is the really, really super exciting news that we've all been waiting for, is that the breaking news right now is that Qubic is listing on gate.io. So we're still awaiting an official announcement, but some users have been able to deposit their Qubic into Gate today, and just saying this is huge. You can see examples of people depositing their Qubic onto gate.io. And here's another example from the altcoinist.com. And they just deposited some Qubic onto gate.io. Now, what I would say about this as well is, I'm waiting for an official announcement, but the news is just coming out so much that it seems that Qubic is finally getting listed on a tier 2 exchange. It's going to make it way more accessible. The main issue that I see everyone having with Qubic right now is they're like, where can I buy it? Where's easy for me to buy it? I don't trust any of those other exchanges. This is probably going to be the first major exchange listing for Qubic, and it's probably going to list on a lot of other quite well-known exchanges, which is going to lead to way more eyes being on Qubic, way more people buying it easily. That doesn't mean that Qubic is going to go to the moon overnight. What it does mean is that Qubic, over time, should gradually increase a lot in value, and we should see the price of Qubic moving up. And even in the short term, as you can see, that news has already got onto crypto Twitter, and people have been buying a lot of Qubic. It's gone up 20% in the space of only a couple of hours. But I think this is probably going to be a sell the news event. So don't get overexcited. Don't expect Qubic to be up at its all-time high overnight. You never know, but don't expect it. But do expect that over the course of a few months, this will impact Qubic's price in a positive way. But we'll see. As I always say, I don't know anything for definite. I'm just here with you guys trying to figure this all out. I believe in Qubic as a project, but I don't 100% know that's guaranteed to go to the moon or anything like that. But it seems to be undervalued right now. Okay, guys, if any of you are confused about the Qubic tokenomics, I'm going to share that video on screen right now, and that's what I recommend you watch next, because those tokenomics are not as scary as you think they are. Okay, guys, I'll see you all on the outside.